Just 1 second, everyone. We'll start. We'll be about 45 to 50 minutes today. And others are showing up now, so that's great. Just 1 second, everyone. Okay. All right. Time to share the screen. Watch for people coming in. I think that's, who's that that's helping me out? Oh, Christina, is that, or Quinn, whoever it is, just watch people coming in.
Okay.
Christina, I'll hit you up too. Make sure you're covered. Welcome, Sister Moore. Good to see you. You're going to see a couple of view graphs that apply to some things you might be wondering about. I think you'll like them. You're always here at the right time. Boy, you can read minds good. Sister Moore, say hello there. She's a mom of the community. Say hello, Sister Moore.
Hello, I'm excited to be here. I have
that's another. You have another Sister Moore. You go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you go next. Okay.
You're gonna have to distinguish us.
Yeah, I know.
A
Both y'all.
Moore.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. I got K Moore. Let's do K Moore real quick. Oh, you open your mic up, Sister K. Oh, her mic's not. Let me remind her. Stand by, y'all. Don't you love technology? All right, maybe she doesn't, maybe can't open.
Hello?
Oh, there you go. Now go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here and hope everyone is safe and have a blessed evening.
All right, thank you there, Sister Moore. All right, this Jumpstart number 6. Glad you're here, Sister Sandra. Good to see you. Sister Kim Joyner, I think you're here. We heard from Sister Betty Jackson. Remember, they'll drop my email address. There's a copy of the presentation that's going to be dropped on the, sooner or later, my people are going to do that for me on here. Please, you'll get that in a second. So just lay back, you can see these view graphs, but you will have a copy of them, don't worry. I thought we'd start out with the colleges students ask for the most. It's what an unusual thing to start a meeting with, but I think it's probably good. I never actually did this, but I think I should do it. And parents, you can really help your students with this information. It's very good information. And I got Sister A Moore, I'm going to have you in a second coming up on something here. College students ask for the most. The colleges students, and I hear these schools in varying ways in almost every conference. And let's just look at what it takes. I do have a video on the first school, which is Howard. Go to my YouTube channel. You'll see I have a video on how to get into Howard. I made a separate video, and I made one last year too, but I think this one is more up to date. But what I've done is I've shown the applied by, and Howard changed this year to the 15th of November. And of course, it's very selective, and you're going to pay $25,000 minimum all the way up to, of course, $40,000 to go there. Unless you have, look at the top, way different if the GPA is 4.0, the SAT is 1350 plus. Since that's only about 0.3% of students, that's something you need to think about. Of course, if you're close to it, these numbers will be better too. Arizona State University is one I hear a lot. University of Arizona, I hear a lot. You can look at the columns for the application dates that I recommend and the enrollment challenge. I'm calling those enrollment challenges. Oregon State, I hear Oregon State and University of Oregon a lot. You need to apply, they'll need to apply by December 1st. And those are the costs of the school list to get a top level merit award. I don't know why, but they're extremely popular with students, those schools. University of Nevada, Las Vegas, also very popular with our students. All these are. San Diego State, very popular. I believe we have a student alum here. Anyway.
I have my shirt on too, my SDSU shirt.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, she went there and it's 14 to 28. It's a CSU. You can see, look how much money difference. San Diego State is a quality public university. I compare it to Oregon State. Well, I go to Oregon State for, never mind. Anyway, New York University, you know what I'm gonna say. I mean, San Diego State is one of the top, always one of the top 15 to 20 public universities in the country. And it's a highly sought after state school by our students. And you can see it's just a sea change lower in cost. than you at the University of Oregon, which is out of state. NYU, I hear a lot. I've had 3 students in the last 2 years go to NYU for 1 year and come back. It's very, very expensive because parents think they'll send them 1 year and then they figure out, gee, I can't do this 45 or 50,000 a year for NYU. USC, which is now $84,000. That's one that's in that ballpark. I don't think it's me. Somebody needs to let me find out who this is. Okay, I best say they muted. Okay, I thought it was me. Anyway, UCLA, I say apply by the 50, but actually UCs are all by the 30th. Again, look at the differential in cost with the UC and then one of these other schools. Spelman, there's Spelman and there's Morehouse. So those are the ones I hear the most, and where you may want to send your student, but just be aware of the cost and make sure your student has alternatives if these appear to be cost problems or selectivity issues with the GPA or the SAT. Okay, so let me continue on. Early considerations for the college list. I didn't bother to do this with animation, but applying to colleges is not the same as attending a college. Boy, this is really important and sometimes a difficult concept for our students' parents. You recommend a school for them to apply to, and they'll say, oh, I don't want to go to that school. Well, we're not talking about where you're going to go. We're talking about where you're going to apply to go, right? And they don't know. Things change in 7, 8, 9 months. Once they see schools, things will change. They definitely do change. Okay, so why not have some affordable schools on the list also? Okay, have 2 to 4. Next thing I think they should consider, have 2 to 4 CSUs on the list, 1 to 2 that you can get into, that you can accept. Sometimes students say they don't want CSUs because the councils will diss the CSUs, but parents, you should insist on them being there. Include high career starting traditionally Black colleges, along with the high profile HBCUs. Notice I did a change in terminology. Traditionally Black colleges are the public universities that are traditionally Black or that are mostly Black, like Norfolk State and schools like that. Florida A&M, NCA&T. These are going to be much more affordable than the private Black schools, and those educations are high quality too. Come on, they're good educations to get. People from those schools. Why apply to just one type of college? It's a rhetorical. There's a rhetorical question there, Brianna. It's just rhetorical. All right. Are you urban, suburban, or rural? I asked that question. I have a student who will give me like a 25 school list, right? And I asked him, I look at the list, it's all kind of stuff. I said, do you want to be urban, suburban, or rural? And once I explain that, right away the list is down to 9 schools. They've just done schools based on what they've heard or what someone's told them. That's the question. Are you a city person? How are you going to adjust if you're at a place there's no city anywhere around your school? How are you going to adjust? Is suburban okay? How adventurous are they, right? They have schools on there that, somebody told them to put there, or a relative might have mentioned, it may not be their cup of tea. How close to home do you need to or prefer to be? I think that's a great rhetorical question that students need to ask themselves. You'll see a list that say they want to be close to home, and then they'll mention a school in the South that they really want to go to. And I go, oh, so you don't want to be close to home. And they realize, oh yeah, I'm seeing something different than I said before. It's that type of thing, parents and students, that you need to be self-aware and see that you're still evolving on what you really like about a college, like to see in a college. Let's look at the college application process with the essays, in it. And I'm gonna have Sister Brianna say a couple of words here. Your view graph's cute. Let me do the whole flow chart first. I like flow charts. I'm an engineer. Y'all do know I love flow charts because I'm an old engineer, right? Right?
Yep.
Anyway, here we go. There's your 12th grade student, relatives and friends suggestions, student counselor research. Student counselors will say, what do you want to major in? And give you like 50 million schools sometimes, because that's the way they look at it as a counselor in school. What major do you want? Of course, I look at career, but that's another whole discussion. Facts and data means GPA, unweighted and weighted, SAT scores, family income, all your career possibilities, I think should be in it. That's my blue arrow there, right? That's where you get my arrow. So you get, coming out of my meetings, there's a nice list that has some schools on it that I think are good for the data that I know for sure about the student. I call this a data-driven approach. It's unique. I never heard anybody say that, but I feel that it's a data-driven approach when we do it that way, okay? All right, let's continue. You get a college list, and if necessary, sometimes you get to this list and none of the schools have essays. There's one person here now like that. There's no rule you go to this step. I mean, parents might say, well, I want them to do college essays, but what if their list doesn't have any schools that require an essay? Some really high quality schools exist that don't have essays. It might surprise you. Common App essay, we have 3 types. We have the UC essay, and we have supplemental essays. But there's some unifying characteristics about all essays that we're going to hit on in just a moment. And then of course, you have your application completion. You might think, well, some people think when it's time to do Common App as applications, the first thing you do is fill out the application. It just takes time from the real thing that's going to take the most time, which is you should do your essays. You do your Common App essay and let somebody look at it and really firm it up. And we're working now with, I think, about 10 students. I don't know. We can do some more. We like to work with some more students. So Sister Brianna has a little something she might want to talk to you about. Let's see here. I have to help you. Oh, I just put it up. Huh? I'm good at changing view graphs. By the way, there's another part to this up here. They're usually going to be early action 1st to the 15th of November, and regular applications are going to be December 1st through January. You really do have schools that have applications due January 10th, things like that, but we like to see them all done during the year. Okay. Facts about the essays. Sorry, Brianna. Facts about the essays. UC essays are 4 out of 8. She's gonna, typically Brianna would, or I would go through 8 essays and get you to pick 4. They're called personal insight questions. They're 250 to 350 words each. So you're gonna write 4 of those. Common App, we're gonna show you 6 essays. You're gonna pick one of the 6. It's gonna be 350 to 650 words. And I always say, I've seen great essays that are 350 words. I've seen terrible essays that are 350 words. I've seen great essays that are 650 words, great ones, 649 or whatever. But I've seen some terrible ones too that I see. So it really depends on how you do your essay. That's why I'm gonna want Brianna to talk in a second. Supplemental essays, some to look at it from her standpoint of what she's looking for. Some common application schools want additional writing. You'll be surprised. Howard has that supplemental essay of 250. I think it's like 400 words in their case. Sometimes it's 500 words. That's one school. I think I can't remember which one. It's 800 word essay. I think LMU has picked 2 out of 3 500 words in supplemental, right? Also, you have short answers that you might have sometimes that are supplemental. Then some schools aren't on the Common App. They're on a UC, but yet they have an essay they require. And then you could have 1 to 2 essays. Biola, Georgetown, Brown University. These are schools that don't use the Common App, but of course have essay requirements, okay? What I didn't say here was, I implied it heavily, that there's a lot of schools that don't require essays at all. But anyway, this is about essays. All right, okay, Sister Brianna, you got it.
Thank you, and I'll let you know when the next slide comes around. So
Great.
what I'll be discussing right now is the top 5 tips that I am looking for when I'm reviewing essays, and just basically learning through my process of of doing this. Next slide, please. So the top 5 tips, next point. So the first thing I look at is, did the student fully answer the prompt? So the first point under that, Deacon Wilson, yeah. So students should read the prompt aloud before starting the response. So I always tell them, like, you want to make sure that we're reading all of the prompts. So there's either the Common App prompts or the PIQ or personal insight question prompts. So I have them read it aloud, and I learned this from Deacon Wilson, having them read it aloud and then giving a thumbs up or thumbs down about the prompts. And then once we get to the process, then they figure out what prompt that they want, and then we go from there. The next thing I do is I share, because the UC site has a really great personal insight questions YouTube video and things to consider on the UC personal insight questions page. So even before they start writing it, I always have them review that information first so they can get an idea of what they're looking for, like the readers, when they're looking at the PIQs. And then they should also check out resources for the essay prompts, such as for the Common App. On their website, they have examples of essay responses as well. There's also third parties that I will vet first before I share with them. Like if I see other examples of Common Application essays or PIQ essays, often send it to them and then say, hey, this is an example. So that way they can get an idea before they start writing. And then also they should make sure that they're meeting the word count. As Deacon Wilson went over in previous slides, there is the word counts for the personal insight questions and then also for the Common App application responses. So they should make sure that they know those word counts before writing, because the worst thing that could happen is for them to write this really beautiful essay and then they're over the word count and then they have to figure out what they need to get rid of. It's easier for them to be under it than over it. And then, so showing their PIQs no more than 350 words, Common App, it should be between 250 and 650 words.
Yeah, it's 250 this year. Go ahead.
Okay. And then is the response in the student's authentic voice? Very important, because I sometimes will see parents or guardians helping them to write the essays, but that's not a good idea because that's not in that's not in their authentic voice. It's really important for them to use their own voice when they're writing these essays, because the readers can see through that as well.
I want to say something about that that's come up this year uniquely. I think it's a post-pandemic thing. Look, listen, parents, we want to help with their essays now. We're here to help you as a parent. You can take vacation while we're helping them. I mean, I don't mean take vacation, but I mean, if you're going to look at it anyway and correct it, you probably should just work with them on the essay yourself. We don't want to get in the way. There should not be 2 reviewers of an essay. And we don't want to tell you how to run your house or what you should do. And this is an awkward issue for us, but I want to be sure we're really helping with students that really need, like we have foster kids that show up on our shores late. We can help. And, we want to be able to give positive comments. All right, now let's go ahead, Brianna.
Sure. So as I mentioned here, parents, guardians, teachers, counselors, even myself and Deacon Wilson, we shouldn't be writing personal insight or Common App responses for students. Like, I should not be giving them an example sentences or things. Oh, this is a paragraph to start it off. Like, I should not be doing that. This should be coming from their own mind and from their own voice. So it's really important that they are the ones writing it, and that for myself or Deacon Wilson, we're reviewing it, or if you decide to review it for your child instead, then you're reviewing it. So as I mentioned, they should be writing their own voice instead of trying to emulate others' voices. And they shouldn't be thinking well, what does this UC reader want to say? Or what does this Common App reader want to say, want to hear? They shouldn't be thinking about necessarily what they want to hear, but more of how they want to tell the story, their own story. Like I said, don't write to impress the readers. That's really important. And then, is there a structure to the response? So sometimes we'll see where there is not really a structure. So it shouldn't be one paragraph. It should be split up into paragraphs that make sense. You don't want just one paragraph, because I've seen that before and then it doesn't make any sense. And then the reader is going to get kind of frustrated because they're not going to be able to understand what the student is trying to say. And then they should include shorter sentences instead of longer run-on sentences.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important that they're shorter and concise. And I've learned that as I've been working in my career, because when I was a college student, I would often have very long run-on sentences. And I had a friend that was a really good writer, and she would always say, hey, Bree, you can split up these long run-on sentences into 2 sentences instead of 3 sentences. So it's really important that they're doing that, so that way they're communicating effectively and clear. And then, does a response flow? So students should make sure that the paragraphs have transition sentences that allow the responses to flow. Yeah, because you don't want to make it seem, I think this is the next point, like there's 2 different responses in one essay, like in one essay. Like you have to make sure that it's a transition, that we know that you're going from the first paragraph to the second paragraph. And it should be cohesive also. And then, is the response grammatically sound? Very important as well. So students should make sure that their grammar and punctuation are the best of their ability before sending for review. Because sometimes you will see, well, I would have to say West Day students have been really good at this, but my experience of working with other students in other settings, sometimes they don't review that beforehand. Like they'll just submit it to you and then not even look at it. But before they're sending it to the reader, to us, I should say, they want to make sure that they're doing the best that they can. Whether it's like using word, like, Grammarly, which I use its app, and we use that at work, where it will review your emails, and you just kind of have an idea of like what it's supposed to look like, or there's other places that they can look at to check their grammar, but just making sure it looks fine.
Yeah.
And they should also read the responses aloud to make sure it makes sense. Because sometimes I know for myself, I'll write something and I will easily omit a word, and so they should be reading it aloud before sending it to us to make sure, okay, this flows, this makes sense. This is how I wanted to communicate this message.
Okay.
And those are my tips.
That's it. Thanks a lot there, Sister Brianna. And let's continue on. I wanted to say something about that. Yeah, so if you, some of you here, we're getting ready to work with your students on your essay. Another thing I want to impress on you is that we're going to do, we compress their due dates. We don't let their drafts drag out, parents. They come to us on a Monday, we look over and pick an essay. They're telling us a date they'll be finished. We'll hold them to 2 to 3, 2 to 5, 4 days. We don't like to make them linger, a week or 2 weeks. Let's get those drafts done and get the corrections going. And because we have other essays we need to move to typically. And even if we don't, they have a life actually. Let's get it done. Then we can put that in the freezer. And then when it's time to deliver the application, we have it. All right. All right, here's the key to high college academic merit awards: grades, 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 and then essay. Notice how I made the SAT smaller. Grades is everything. Grades, grades, grades. I think I'm going to meet with students only real soon here. And we're really going to hit this hard this year. This 7th semester ought to be an epic semester for them. They ought to do extremely well. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Let's go over the SAT candidate. Oh, I know what I want to talk about. That's right. When I got the grades, I thought about this. I think there's some other intangible factors too that help with admission and even with money sometimes. And I think I want Sister Moore to talk. I know it seems like old hat to you, Sister Alberta A. Moore. I want you to talk about what you did with Andy as far as 2-year colleges go. And by the way, I know a lot of you are seniors, but I'm trying to have seniors, but I want you to use this summer in a creative way for that reason. Go ahead, Sister Alberta.
Yeah, first of all, Andy has been part of Deacon Wilson's program since it was middle school. So, and I had a previous daughter, of 2012, and a great niece, 2012, who both graduates, have jobs, and then another great niece who's a senior now. So we've been through the program, and we totally subscribe to what is said. And Deacon Wilson has always said to utilize the community college program. And for my son, it worked out really well, taking a class every summer, or 2 or 3 classes, a class during a year, or 2 or 3 classes during the summer. So he was able to transfer 57 community college units to his college. So he's going in as a sophomore, just 3 units short of being a junior.
Whoa.
And it was something that it wasn't stressful for him, because he just kind of went with the flow with it. And it definitely enhanced what was going on with the school, which is another discussion that Deacon will have in terms of making sure the school stays on track with your program, because it can be, they can deviate into areas that you don't want to go into. But that's really important, and especially to maintaining that SAT candidate profile. You have to work on making sure your student stays on track, because all schools are not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I want to see seniors, think about this summer. And now look at me, I'm looking ahead to summer already. You should be able to take a class or 2 after you graduate and get some college credit, even late. Anything's better than nothing. And then if you have siblings of them, start thinking about our 2-year program. We have an online program with Trade Tech right now. When we move to the new building, it'll be back in person. Just think about getting some college credit while they're in high school is a good idea. It really is. It'll save you money on the other end too, by the way. I haven't mentioned that lately. Just thought we'd bring it up. Thank you, Sister A. Moore, Sister Alberta. Let's see now. Let's go over that SAT profile one more time. 3.7 unweighted. The high school student, if that is okay and not an issue, you can go with a lower GPA. That's fine. You might have money saved, or it just is something you're going to do. Consider private colleges away from California, definitely including HBC or TBC. So if you're considering private colleges away from California, there's a relatively high GPA, or you have a high PSAT, I should have said PSAT, decent PSAT. I think you should think about the SAT, because it's going to benefit that student if they're 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, if they have an SAT score also to work with. Okay. You got applications is close and very good. Yeah, right here. I think that's where it is right here. SAT test and prep plan. They should take the October 7th. If they have not, I should stop here. I keep hearing on and off that sites are coming open and then closing. And I heard Dominguez had some spots. The point is, get registered immediately for the SAT if you're going to do it. Don't wait. I got people who claim they could only find December, but got to keep trying. They might open up a site in there, okay? But October 7th, SAT, if they've not, some are taking it in August, taking a second time in November or December. We'll be doing review prep for both. We offer SAT prep for all tests, first time taking, plus the review prep if they need it. It's $100 to $260 depending on the high school, and there are limited spots available. So we're doing it online, and I don't want to run a super big online class. Go to WestAEP it's www.westa-eep.org. I don't have the .org. See and click the SAT prep banner at the page top. Register for the SAT now. I remind you here, use outer county sites. You're going to be further away no matter what you do, because there's no sites in LA, and I'm poking around in LAUSD. I already got an answer from the higher ups in Long Beach, and we went back and forth for 25 minutes, and they admitted that they should have sites open, but it wasn't a priority to them. So Long Beach has said, yeah, it's not a priority. And LAUSD only has 2 schools that are made available with a total of 310 seats. So we got a problem with getting the SAT in LA County because LAUSD is not participating. And some colleges that used to offer the SAT are not now. But I see Dominguez did step up to the plate and offered some seats. So what can I say about this issue? Y'all saw I did a video on it, but they can just ignore those. All right, this is some new stuff here. Top ways that youth and parents can control costs. Students, please have a realistic, non-entitlement perspective on, let me close that up. Sorry about that. On yourself. You get the school you earn and choose, not just the one you choose. So if you're seeing this on video, you might want to let your students hear this part of the video. There's a life lesson in this. The college selection process teaches us that you can't have everything you want. Students, please easily understand that you cannot have a right to attend any college, no matter the cost, no matter what your parents say or promise. There's going to be a cost, limit. It's a good time for students to learn that right now, parents. Applications require work and time above and beyond their homework, job, athletics, etc. It's a little bit of work, right? Okay, let's continue here. Go on here. Here's some college selection tips. Have an open conversation with your youth. How much you're willing to pay in cash? Talk to them. How much debt are you willing to take? How much per month? Listen, parents, how much per month are you willing to pay? I say per month twice, for 7 to 10 years after your student leaves college. Evaluate your students' study skills and willingness to succeed academically when you're not there every day or before you go into debt. I took out this view graph last year and I regretted it because some situations came up and I realized that that's why I was saying this. Students, make this your greatest high school academic year. I don't know what students I have here. Let me find out. Are any students out there, parents? So I can know how much to linger on this. Let me find out. Is OC there? Is OC there, I wonder? No?
Yes, OC is here. He's
okay,
not
good, okay.
He's very present here.
Right. Gabrielle, you're there, right? Gabrielle?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's a yes. Where you go to school?
I go to a school called Stella High School Charter Academy.
Yeah, she told me right. I got it. And Danielle here, is she working? Danielle here, Sister Cherie? And Sister Dawn, is he here? Is Garen here?
Garen is coming. Let me get him.
Yeah, it's a good part for him to hear.
Let me get him right now. Hold on one second.
Sister Betty, is he here? Sister Betty Jackson, is he here? Your son?
Yeah, my boy is listening.
Okay, good. What's his name?
Philip Lindell.
Philip? Did you say Philip?
Philip Lindell.
Oh, good. Okay, he's hearing this. All right, and who's?
Hi, and sorry, Danielle is not here. She's working.
All right, okay.
But I have reiterated this to her a million times.
Show her this part of the video. So it's not
I sure will.
And
video, please, sweetie.
Excuse me. Who's CK? Hi, CK. CK, who are you? CK. CK, I know you hear me. No? Open your mic up. Yes? Guess they're not hearing me. All right.
Deacon Garen is here.
All right, good. I was stalling for him to come. So, CK, you don't hear me. Okay. I can't remember who that is, CK.
Deacon, wait, you said you were going to share the slide with us?
Yeah, I'm relying on my team to do it.
Okay.
I'm hoping they put it in the chat. Maybe they put it in earlier. They need to do it again. Hey, one of y'all talk to me. Who's doing it?
Yes, I'm reposting right now.
Okay. You just got to go over there and grab that link, throw it in the chat. Then when you get it, just click it and open it, parents, and you have it for yourself. All right, let's get that presentation in there. That'd be great. All right, and then my video channel you can see this video later when it processes. I'll remind them about the video channel and I'll remind them about the presentation. We should do that 2 or 3 times, folks, as you get through this meeting, okay? To my team there. You should keep shooting it out there. All right, okay. Students, make this your greatest academic year. Woo! Parents, think about our Enriched Studies program. Yep, I renamed Homework Club again. It's going to start in 2 to 3 weeks. Talk to me about that. Watch your email, actually. We're going to be emailing it after I meet with my team this week. We're going to meet with the I believe Bailey set that up for. We're going to have a meeting this next week. Just watch your email as you go through the week, but that'd be a good thing for them to do, especially if they're taking an advanced math or science. All right. It's going to help with a few merit awards if you can get your GPA up, and leads into a. The other thing is you go to college on a roll and you know how you learn, and then you do well in your classes. Students that don't do well that senior year, it seems to carry over into college. That's not a good thing. Students, you need to think about your activities, how many activities you have, and your employment. Are you doing too much to be working on applications and to do well in your studies? There's a lot you're balancing. I mean, eventually you'll have to do it in college, but you want to make sure you don't hurt your chances if you got a lot of applications by, the amount of time you have to spend by not budgeting your time properly. Many students are doing too much to do better on their applications. We run into that all the time with essays. It's just a lot going on, and I totally understand. But that's what we have to think about. Oh yes, I forgot this. You're commanded to have still, with all that stuff going on, to have fun your senior year. What a strange bullet to have on a view graph, but you want to have fun at the same time. You don't want to have life be a drag with a whole lot of stuff you got to do. All right, more college selection tips. Regulate and control the use of AP classes. This is the last chance for me to say that. I certainly think that 2-year college classes this summer are better. A lot of you think because the counselors have told you might get into a good college if they have AP courses, even the senior year. But look at this, academic merit awards for selective colleges are already in the bin. They're based on 3 years, not 3.5 or 4. So they're going to decide on their merit awards by the first 3 years of what goes on in those first 3 years, okay? So think about that when you fill in it. I think even if they've started school, you can now relook at that AP schedule, and that's going to take time from applications and take time from things they need to be doing right now too, if they're working and all that kind of stuff. I think we lost some people, huh? People are coming back. Am I on? Let me make sure I'm up.
Yes.
You are.
Somebody tell me I'm up.
Yes.
You are.
I think we lost a lot of people at the same time because of the you know what. I don't want to say it. Understand? Oh, I could say tropical storm, right, Karen? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Understand the mathematics of the situation. If you want to raise your GPA, it's probably too late to do it with AP classes. People think they're taking the AP classes to raise your GPA, but if you have a selective college, they're looking at the first 3 years. Please, I need you to think about that. Well, that's something your counselors don't want you to know, I tell you. Next. Students resist the fear of disappointing counselors or teachers. Be more in a you first mentality. Your counselors' parents are not going to pay for college. They're just not. And that senior year, I need them to have super high grades. If they can get good grades that don't have AP classes, it's going to raise their unweighted GPA and lower your costs for college. Okay? Recognize you should actually continue when you should continue AP classes and when you should not. If you're getting A's in your AP classes, probably you can continue in your senior year. If not, then probably you can retire those and take classes where you could get something from and do well in. We talked about that a little in the other meeting on Thursday night. Talk about it again Thursday night, this Thursday. More tips. Find out and apply for the most affordable colleges. Name brand colleges with interest in average to very good grades equal very high cost colleges. If you have a college, it's strange, but the ones that are looking for high grades are going to be your high cost colleges. And because those are the ones where to get merit money, you're going to have super high grades. Now, if you need ideas for other colleges, that's great. I think I just say that here. Name brand colleges interested in super high grades. It quite reduced college costs in most cases. Yeah. So if you have a name brand college, I don't know how I worded it this way, but name brand colleges are interested in super high grades. Okay. If you have super high grades, you can reduce your costs, of course. But who has the tippy top, above 4.0 and high SAT scores? Parents, watch for early lock-in on schools. Keep an open mind. This is one thing that colleges hope for, is that you lock in on the school early. That's the only problem with early action. Early action is fine. You get to know early whether you get into a school, but you don't have to lock in if it's early action. Visit 1 to 2 colleges that you think or believe you will not like. How about that? Or 1. That seems strange, but visit some colleges that you don't think you're gonna like. Because a lot of times students end up in those colleges. I can't tell you how often that's happened to us. We're gonna go over our travel in a couple of slides here. But a lot of times students have gone to college. I had students to go to DC with me. Either they're going for GW or Howard, and they go to the other school at the end of the day. I've had them come there looking at Howard, end up going to GW. I have a few that went to Howard, that they're looking at GW and ended up at Howard. You never know what's going to happen. I've had students who I thought for sure, like my daughter, they were going to go to SPU, Seattle Pacific, but they went to Boise State. Or you never know what a visit to a college will do. And that's why I say visit 1 to 2 colleges, even CSUs that you don't think you'll like. At least you'll get to know more about why you don't like it or what you do like. Visiting colleges is an important way to do that. Students learn to draw a distinction between, here I go again, between applying for and attending a college. It's like shopping versus buying. When you go shopping, you don't buy everything you see. You pick things up and even look at them. Sometimes you try them on and you don't end up buying them, right? It's kind of like that. It's very important. Okay, how about college type? Here's some relatively affordable. Again, you'll get a copy of this presentation. I hope that's up in the chat, guys. Have they got that up there? Have you got it up there yet? Anybody? Quinn or?
Yes,
Y'all been dropping on and
there.
off. I know you've been dropping on and off. Yeah, that's right. So it's up there. Again, get this presentation and go over these and look at your college list, because it's what I do in a meeting. That's how I form these slides. What kind of schools am I thinking about currently in the meetings? I updated this list for this year. George Washington. If your kids are you're looking at a selective private college that'll get their careers started. That's relatively affordable, and they're affordable because of our relationship with them. You're looking at GWU in DC, Lehigh University, Northeast Pennsylvania. It's a fine college, has many different kinds of degrees. It's in a very populated sort of suburban feeling area. Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, it's very affordable for minority students. Seattle Pacific, very affordable again. Grand Canyon, we know about them. We talked about them. Howard University, relatively affordable. I have it in quotes. And Howard, the thing I like about Howard before the other HBCUs is that you can get some merit money at Howard at a lower GPA than some of the other HBCUs like Hampton. You get more money from Howard than Hampton. If you say you're 3.7, you get more money from Howard. Howard is that way, more than Spelman and Morehouse and those places. There's a lot more ready merit funds from that school. And Tuskegee is the best at merit money, but of course you gotta have no problem being in a rural or a school out in the middle of nowhere. But I've had students go there, have great experiences, and it's quite affordable, selective private college. Okay. How about affordable college by college type? How about affordable, selective, mostly Black colleges? Here's some affordable, mostly Black colleges, which are traditionally Black colleges, right? Virginia State, Norfolk State. Some of you are applying these schools already, because in my meeting with you, you saw that. Delaware State, Jackson State, Southern A&M. These are all more affordable schools. I tend to, though, well, that's okay. These are affordable, selective, mostly Black college examples, but they're quite affordable, okay? How about mostly affordable Western public universities? I'm giving you some ideas of different schools. Boise State, very affordable. For our program, there's a special scholarship for about $18,000 a year. If you're 3.0, have visited the school and are in our program, We have 6 scholarships a year they'll give away to our students. We didn't give them all away last year, but we're going to give them away this year, I hope. We're going to make 3 visits to the school. We're making our first on September 24th and 25th. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's a very affordable Western Public University. More about them later. Nevada, Reno, University of New Mexico, very affordable. Northern Arizona, again, these last two schools are a little more, I guess Flagstaff's in a more rural area. Albuquerque is a major metropolitan area. Colorado State Pueblo, major metropolitan area. University of Colorado Boulder, pretty much a lot of people there. And Montana State Bozeman, not a huge area, but there are a lot. We've had some students go there. Particularly, I've had athletes go there and have very good lives. A lot of them stay up there afterwards. That's crazy, huh? They do. Okay, so some ideas of Western public universities. Let's look at the CSUs a little closer and figure out which ones are going to be the easier ones and the harder ones to get into. I have an admissions rating on each school. So Obispo, Fullerton, Long Beach, San Diego State are the most selective CSUs. You can see the target GPAs to get in those schools. Okay. I just want to be sure you see that. So you don't want to overload your list. Sometimes I get all 4 of those are on the students list and they're a 3.0 student. I figure they're not going to get into any of those CSUs. So you want to make sure you balance your list out. And if we meet, I'm going to make sure of that, right? San Marcos, San Jose State. Let's go back. Are in the second level tier kind of 3.2, 3.4. There's one I didn't do that right. I think I left it off. Up here, I think what I left off was Cal State LA should probably be on that second list, okay? But number 3, Chico, East Bay, you see them all, they're listed there. They're in that 2.8 to 3.0 range kind of schools, and with the 3s on them, right? And of course, you have Dominguez Hills, Bakersfield, Channel Island. Like I said, Cal State LA is missing. It should really be up, but really between 1 and 2, it'd be really close. Unless your school is in the area. That's probably why I took them off, because most of your high schools are in the area of Cal State LA. So it's going to be an easier school to admit to because of area impaction, which was explained last week. Okay. Just want to give you an idea if you're not in the area of the school. And obviously these CSUs that are in the 4 level and the 3 level are going to be CSUs that you'll have as safety schools if you're 3.0. You want to have those schools. And I see a couple of them had an interesting name change. You all see Humboldt State down here. It's now Humboldt Poly. It's now one of our 3 polytechnical CSUs that are now by charter that way. Okay, that's something new that happened last year. We hear the UCs. Here's the way I see UC admissibility. I figure UCLA, based on this year's data, the students I had that were applying, UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UC Santa Barbara are the most difficult ones to get into these days. Santa Barbara jumped, boy, it used to be in the middle, but it's very hard to admit right now. Remember, they're not looking at the SAT, so they only look at GPA and the quality of the essay, right? UC Riverside, UC Santa Cruz, Irvine, Davis, that second tier, then Merced's, it has a tier. Look at where Merced's GPA is now, 3.5. Used to be you can get in there at 3.0, but not now, 3.5. And that's the story on UC, which by charter accepts only the top 10% of students in schools. I put this chart together, our 5 favorite colleges, Grand Canyon, Boise State, Sonoma, Seattle Pacific, GW. And I didn't put Howard on this list, but I wanted to isolate on these for a reason you'll see. Why do EEP students pick these schools? That's why I have these here. These are the schools where people go, huh? Anyway, Grand Canyon's cost and great career start record. They have a great record with starting careers. It's a Christian campus, but it's balanced. Boise State, cost and great career start record. Very safe for Christian students. My daughter went to Boise State, didn't mention that when she was here. It's for adventurous students, yes. Safe for Black students. I know what you think, Boise, they might be hanging my student up there in Ohio, in Idaho, I don't know. No, it's safe for our Black students, and they've had some really great experiences there. I'm very connected with this school as far as getting money for students. Hint, hint. Sonoma State University, I mean, what can I say? It is what it is. Same thing with GW and Seattle Pacific, I suppose. Sonoma State, it's one of our favorite CSUs. All CSUs are comparatively lower than any other college, even on campus. So the price is comparatively lower than other CSUs. But the other thing is they have did you know this, Sister Karen, maybe you knew, I probably knew, that they're by far, by a lot of separation, #1 in retention and graduation rate for students. Retention meaning keeping them from a freshman to sophomore year, and graduation means what it means. They're by far the top CSU for that. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a private college when you're there. None of the buildings is more than three stories high. Okay. We are visiting that school. You'll see in just a moment we go over our travel. Seattle Pacific, I am putting them back on the list. I'm hoping for improvement with the policing issues and the crime, and we are seeing it. So I put it back on there. I took it off for a couple of years because they had some problems in the area of street crime there. Cost comparatively lower than other private colleges for sure. Is great connection with the professors. It for sure is lower than other private colleges. They cut their tuition and fees by 30%. Now I thought it'd be just for the pandemic, but they've kept it off. They've trimmed down their staff. They're leaner and meaner and back for the fight, Karen, you know. Let's see. I have somebody looking into space for that to find out if it's worth us looking at going up there. George Washington, even when I wasn't going up there, people were deciding to go there. I had about 5 go there the last 3 years there, Karen.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, I was really pushing it hard. George Washington University is a great alternative to UC and pricey selected private colleges. High quality career start. Anything in DC is going to be that way. I didn't mention that with Howard, but it's also great for career start, which is why we visit Howard and GW when we go there. Student follow-up, the student wants it. That's right. A lot of follow-up if they want it. And it has good dollar connection I have with that school as well. The best college buys. I think we showed this list last week. We implied it earlier today, so I won't spend a lot of time on this. We mentioned all these schools earlier today. Let's talk about travel. These are our upcoming tours. We finally got it posted on our website now. Boise State, George Washington, and Sonoma in order are our next air travel trips. 2 overnights and 1 one-day trip. I will now review. We've had people signing up even before I officially had it. I had people incognito even before we actually posted it somehow, posted on the website. Boise State is September 24th to 25th. And it's air travel costs is $350. Yeah, airfare is up this year, like a lot of stuff. But $350 is the air travel round trip. We can make that good if it's by the 26th. If we think it will float to $440, if it's lower, we can give you the lower price. We're just guessing on that. We know it won't be higher than $440. So we'll definitely tell you if it's lower. In fact, even any of these prices could be lower on the out dates, but that's worst case if the airfares go the way they're going right now. But a lot of times they drift down because, like, you know, gas may jump around or availability of flights. A lot of them pulled flights, now putting flights back. Let's see. Next, we have DC, Washington, DC. See my Capitol building? It's Howard and GW on November 4th to the 6th. We'll take your student to those schools. It's $365 if you can do it by the 31st of August, and you can hold the land travel cost till later. We will collect just the air travel in the invoice. You can hold on to that land travel one. Then Sonoma State, it's $300 if it's by the 26th of August. And it's a one-day, it's a day trip. We're gonna go up early Friday morning. We're gonna return Friday evening from Sonoma State, okay? So those are the upcoming trips. We may be adding a trip in there. I'm thinking about Sacramento State, but I haven't, she'll see it on the next view graph, but I haven't talked to my advisor on those matters, Sister Karen Moore, so we'll have to talk to her. We may be announcing another trip, first time visit officially to Sacramento State. Okay, here's how we roll with out-of-town travel, how we roll. We have 20+ years experience, 27 trips to DC, 35 to Boise, 21 to Sonoma State. So we know about travel. Over 400 student trips have occurred with 205 students. Some have used this multiple times, right? Parents can travel with us, but the fee is the same, sometimes more if the airline gave us a deal on the students. Like if I fly Southwest, I have a community rep that will get the tickets for lower for students, right? But the parents have to pay the regular fees, it's usually a little bit higher. But yeah, we'll take parents with us, no problem. Great. Company policy does not allow parents with students on the trip to be a chaperone on the trip. That's our insurance company that's jerking my chains there, okay? We have trained chaperones. We closely monitor students, but we let them breathe, okay? But we do closely monitor students. Totally transparent communication before and during travel with parents. We're very transparent. We communicate all the time with parents, let them know every step of the way, what's happening, what's going on. We have forms you'll fill out, and we carry those forms with us, etc. So we know that's how we roll. Oh, wait a minute, there's something else I don't see here yet. Oh yeah, yes, here it is. People usually ask, hey, are they gonna have to share a bed? No, share a bed, I'd probably get fired for that. I seem like somebody might fire me in West Angeles. 1 bed per youth, 2 per room, 4-star hotels, always air travel. I think if I violate any one of those, I'll be called into Pastor Charles' office. I mean, that's, so 1 bed per youth, 2 per room, 4-star hotels, etc. Okay. How to get a college tour. You're going to register online. These are in order. We review the online form, and invoice is emailed. Payment is received, air ticket purchase with air company group plan, or we just go out and just purchase it straight if we can get it cheaper. It's all about the market, right? Lodging fee paid the day of the trip in cash. If there's a lodge, that's another one that could go down. Like sometimes I get more subsidization. That's a worst case price that I had on that price chart I had on the page before. Here's some additional college tours we think are in planning. I should have put it in quotes. CSU Bakersfield, that's going to be a day trip. Sacramento State, Cal State Los Angeles, Loyola Marymount University, and Whittier College. These are tours that are in planning. And we may substitute Biola for Cal State LA. We're not sure yet, okay? Some of these trips are going to be Friday trips up and back during the day, and the rest of them were air tours that we showed earlier. So that's what we think about college touring. Here's how to contact us. Please do so. And again, we get a copy of this presentation. You'll have all this information here. Expect to hear from if you have any questions at all. We didn't want to have a super long meeting today, but next meeting is the meeting we're going to have in a few weeks when I talk about scholarships. And I'm going to talk about scholarships will be the major topic, but I'll also be ready to talk about a few other things. I may have a guest speaker there as well. Okay, and we'll get there in a couple of weeks. Let me go ahead and stop the share. All right, let's see if there's any questions. I'll take questions right now.